Live from our Missouri studios, this is TPIM SR Live. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. I'm your host, True Powers Mine. Today, brothers and sisters, we have CI on the line. We're going to be talking about contemporary issues, also industry news. But first off, I want to give thanks to CI, and I want to thank the Most High for allowing me to do this show yet again, to be with you all for another hour of power. So that being said, Brother CI, you still there?
Sir, brother, True Powers Mine. It's your boy CI. Yay! How you doing, brother? Thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
It's all good, man. You know, I want to talk about the industry. A lot of young artists actually listens to the show, and being in the industry, seeing the ups and downs, seeing the feast and the famine. What advice and base these advice on principality of the thing can you give these people?
The best advice I can give any artist in this music industry, no matter what type of genre that you're involved in, is to stay true to yourself, believe in yourself, work hard, master your craft, learn how to get better, learn how to write better songs, learn how to be a businessman, learn how to be an entrepreneur. You got to learn how to say no, unfortunately.
Now, what you're saying no to?
So it's a tough industry. I've been in this industry since 2001. But the best advice I would say to everyone out there, just keep striving, keep working hard, utilize all of your social media platforms. Make sure that your music is on Spotify. Make sure that you have your publishing set up with ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, Sound Exchange, because you want to get paid for your royalties and your international royalties, your mechanical royalties, your streaming royalties. You want to make money in all aspects of this game. Brand yourself. Learn how to brand yourself, whether it's photo shoots. The industry is different now, so a lot of it is done on social media and the internet. But just believe in yourself, man, and keep on going, because you never know who you're touching out there. You just got to learn all the aspects of the game, master your craft, work hard, be willing to go beyond the box, step outside of the box in your creativity and see how far that you can really go.
Got it. Now, when we were talking earlier tonight, and we were talking about the protest. And the reason why I bring this up, because the protest is what? It's covered by the media. And the media, I think, is really painting the wrong picture of what's going on out there. Could you share with us, like, how do you think some of the artists could use the protest in their work?
Well, we've been fighting against the enemy since the civil rights days, and even before that. And I think with the events, with the death of George Floyd, we're fighting against fascism and tyranny. And I think the power of music, you can use it as inspiration. All the things that we're seeing, with the protests, the federal troops, the tear gas. It's a lot of things that you could write about. There was at one point in time, you would be banned for talking about these type of things. But see, now, since we're able to see it live and live in color, it's really happening. So I believe that if we use the music to tell our story and our experiences of what we're seeing, police brutality, white supremacy, and just all the issues, federal. I mean, we have a government that is fighting against us. So I feel like through music is the best way to enlighten and educate the people and really tell them what's real.
And now, let's use that thought. You remember when gangster rap came out, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, using that, artist is telling people what's real, Jazz. Do you see how that has been manipulated and financed by a certain sombrero group to destroy our character through the music, through the so-called culture, which was handed to us, which is not really us?
Right. Well, the same people that control the music industry is the same people who control all of the private prisons and the media industries. The name of the actual company that runs everything is the Vanguard Group. The Vanguard Group is in partnership with all of your top record labels: Universal, Warner Brothers, Sony, Epic. No matter where it is, it's Interscope. And so when the gangster rap, at first they wanted to ban it. They didn't think, they thought it was too violent. They talked about killing police officers. They talked about hustling in the hood, whatever the case may be, teenage pregnancy and all of that. It was like gangster rap was our version of the 5 o'clock news.
Right.
It was we were able to see the real life events, especially after the situation that happened with Rodney King. So at first they wanted to ban gangster rap because they didn't think it would be profitable, dangerous to sell it. But what they did was they said, "Oh, you know what? Let's put a parental advisory sticker on it," and then it promotes a certain image to where, because if you keep spinning that over and over and over and over, you start to program it. It's called systematically. It's like your brain is a computer. So they play that over and over and over, and it talks about what's going on in the hood. And then once they put the parental advisory sticker on it, then they were able to sell it to white mainstream America. And then because they're the ones who have the resources to do it. But then over a period of time, it cut off the more conscious, real rap, because they don't want you to be educated. So now they're promoting a new type of rap that's more, pop, more mainstream and all of that.
Less aggressive. Let's just be honest. It's less aggressive. It's less physical aggressive, sexually aggressive, and socially aggressive. It's just, something to dance and maybe veg out and drink to.
Yeah, most definitely. So at first, then they were like the powers that be. They didn't want, the earlier gangster rap, but then once they were able to profit off of it, now they're using those same tools to where we're destroying each other. They build the rappers up, the image of the rapper, and then they use it to influence the minds through the music, and then they get the youth to do it. So it's like they're getting a 2-for-1 special. If one black man kills another black man, one's dead, one goes to jail, and that rapper that might have did that was funded by the Vanguard Group, the same people who own CNN, MTV, Viacom, Meredith, Gannett, Clear Channel. All of these entities are under one umbrella. It's called the Vanguard Group.
And they are a group that is, and the reason why we're pointing this out tonight, folks, this group is funding the targeting and the character assassination of us.
Yeah.
And we have to recognize it for, yes, Granny got to retirement through these people. Yes, you get your news through these people. That's how it's all encompassing, bro. You had better wake up. And then, this is what I was trying to talk about the other day. You know, you run around here provoking the beast in the strongest aspect of it. The strongest aspect is the military wing of it. Vanguard is the financial wing of it. And you need to be aware of both.
Yeah.
Contact tracing. Think about it, brother. You know, they had contact tracing for COVID-19. Well, you can use those same tactics for protesters. You can use that same tactics for gangbangers. You can use that same tactics for pimps and whores and drug users and drug dealers. It's already here, folks. That's the point. It's already here.
Yeah. And nobody wants to believe it. Everybody thinks that this is a myth, or it's not really what's happening, because it hasn't affected them personally.
But it has, brother. It already got in their minds. Their minds are based upon the data or information the Vanguard group, through its proxies, are facilitating on us. It's already affected them. That's why they glaze over when we try to wake them up.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree. You know, and all of these entities that are under the Vanguard group, or like I said, Sinclair Broadcasting, which is AKA Fox News, all those people, all the top record labels, and everybody else, producers, are all affiliated with the Vanguard group. And another thing too, Brother Pat, we was talking earlier before I came on your show, and again, thank you for having me, and say hello to and peace of power to everyone that's tuning in tonight. We were talking about the lack of, you know, a black ownership. You know, when it comes to the music industry, it's like we don't own the culture. We don't own, really, we don't even own the music, because a lot of the musicians, the early musicians, a lot of them died broke because the people that they thought that they could trust was taking advantage of them.
I give you a nickel for every LP you sell, boy, and I want you to get out there and talk about killing your brother and pimping out your sister. Don't that sound good, boy? And they ate it up like it was fucking gravy and sausage. It's disgusting.
See, that's the reason why they only go so far. There's the ones that are a part of them, like you see the Kanye West and all of them. All of this stuff. Then they had the verses, like you may or may not have heard about the rappers, you know, versing each other. Like, you know, since the COVID's been down, a lot of cats ain't really been out there traveling and getting that money. So what they've been doing is they've been doing a lot of the verses, like DMX versus Snoop or T.I. versus 50 Cent. See, the thing about it is it's all a publicity stunt and the distraction of what's really going on. What's really going on is we are at war with an unstoppable virus that is killing people. We have dictator imperialism going on in the White House.
Will you stop? You're killing me. Dictator imperialism. Listen, we better realize we're headed for a hot war, foreign power, and we're also headed for a civil war. And they will more than likely coincide.
Absolutely. And, you know, like with the way that the you know, we was talking about the music industry. The fact that there's the people that you see on the television or the videos or whatever, the people that you see, the one thing that they don't want you to know is how their business practices are. There's a lot of people in the music industry that one key component is ownership of your original recording and your publishing. Now, the direction that I'm going into as a veteran artist for over 20 years, the direction that I'm going into is getting more in the TV and film licensing, think like. That's what I'm doing. Like I'm subbing out my content to TV and film companies right now. Like I'm going into a different direction because see, the one thing about rap and hip hop is they tried to put a quote unquote age limit on that. I don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and my fans, they don't see anything different. My fans love me. You know,
Right.
I've been putting in work since 2014, but when I signed my first record deal, you know, I was 38 years old. So when I signed my first record deal, they announced that they signed me. They did a press release when they signed me. And I didn't want them to do that. But then they announced it, and all those people that were hating, that did not want to see me come up, all the cats I grew up with that later became my enemies, they tried to be cool with me because they see that I was on my way to being a star. I had women coming after me. I had family members, all these people that never believed or tried to destroy what I built. See, also too, when you asked about what another thing, what say to the up and coming artists out there, you got to have courage. You got to have courage to do what we do as performers, because I had to make a choice. Did I want to be a person that woke up every single day to fulfill somebody else's goals and dreams at a job that I knew that there wasn't no future in for terrible money? Or did I want to do something? I want to be somebody. You know, I want to be able to put people in position to where they can make money and have a better life. Once I got that record deal, everything changed. Everything changed. People were treating me differently. People were doing all those fake smiles. But see, they were smiling my face, but behind my back, they were plotting on trying to stop me because, see, they knew that I was coming up. I'm the only artist from my community that I've sold music to over 30 different countries. And I'm not saying that to boast or brag, because I'm humble. When you mention CI, the people they'll tell you about me. And when I did shows in New York, LA, Texas, and Florida, humble. You got to be humble, because when you're doing things independently, you're spending your own money. You know, and after I parted ways with that label, I still talk to the president to this day. The president of the company was a former MMA fighter. You know, so what thing I told him was, whether the deal that we had succeed or failed, I just like the fact that they acknowledged my talent. That's what meant more to me than anything. It's the fact they can see what I can do, and they know that I was doing what I was doing. And you know, when you have something that you're very passionate about, as I am with my craft, I'm putting my all into it. I'm putting all of my resources into it. But because I've learned to be a better songwriter, and adding this on my resume, as far as I was just saying a few little while ago about submitting my work to TV and film company, that's where the money's at. Because once that film license, because see, it's a small world. Also, too, when I was saying about the social media part, I was actually I was in a movie called The Lou. It was filmed back in 2015, and it was filmed by St. Louis native Lacey Turner and Justin Holmes for 35 Multimedia Group. So I had like 3 days to learn the part. And I mean, just the whole experience behind it. And then because a television show in the TV and film sync licensing, once that show airs for over 4 years, it's syndicated. Right. And some of those companies will actually contact the songwriters and say, hey, can you write us a song for our show? That's where the money is. They try to put this brick wall. Even if it was to end today, I still would be satisfied with everything I've done with music. And I'm still growing with it even to this day. My catalog is huge.
No, bro.
You know, I got a question
from the chat room. Have you ever witnessed any satanic activity, aka rituals, or maybe even a little conjuring in the music industry on the higher levels?
Oh yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I know a young lady that I met back in 2014, very talented artist, and she was from the Midwest, and she flew to Los Angeles, and she flew out there because a record label wanted to sign her, but she turned it down because of the stuff they wanted her to do in order to get that deal.
Little
But
sex magic.
Excuse me.
They wanted her to probably participate in a little sex magic.
Yeah, it's the one thing about the secret society, like with the rituals, you'll know which ones are part of it. The way they position themselves, like as far as like hand gestures and symbols. Because I remember one time I went to Walmart and there was these two guys and they kept like, they were talking, seemed like natural, but I sat there and I looked at it to see how they shake their hand. And then I was like, okay, that's who they are. So they'll give up little symbols, whether it's like like they put the finger up to their lips, like like don't tell the secret. See, it's deeper than that. See, I've been speaking out about them, about the Agenda 21 Project Blue Beam. I've been speaking out against people in the industry, but see, I felt like at one point in time they tried to blackball me. They see that they know what I'm doing. They see what I'm doing. But for some strange reason, they don't want me to come all the way in because they know that I can change the game. I'm a threat to them. I've actually seen mainstream rappers in person, when we would go to the shows back in the day. Like if I wasn't performing, I would go to a show in St. Louis or a show in Chicago and check out other rappers. But just their hand signals, what I'm saying? The way that they dress, the way that they, it's become too feminized. You know what I'm saying? That's the negative message that that's where they're destroying hip hop. So I've seen the symbols. I know the symbols. I know who the gatekeepers are. I don't know these people personally, but
let's just bust this down for the uninitiated. We have to talk about principalities and universal law, y'all. So if something comes from the Greek, the natural evolution of this thing will be Greek in nature. What is Greek? One would ask. That's a great question. That's the so-called civilization where you mix architecture with art and homosexual activity. That is what is Greek. And this is why it starts off as violence, because you must subdue a people who won't go along with the program, of course. Most people frown on that being forced upon them. So you have to conquer them. Then you basically do what has happened to us. Brainwash them into desiring not just to be the pimp, but the best pimp you can be. Have them desiring not to be a rogue, degenerate, basically danger and menace to the whole community, but be the best gangbanger you can be. Desiring this as if this is their destiny. This is their natural fate. It's only because our minds have been washed.
Right. And one thing I can honestly admit it, at one time I was brainwashed. At one time, I didn't know what was going on. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have people on the street. See, the one thing about the black man, even though in today's world, and we will always be considered the endangered species, the one thing that we had was the street. A lot of bad things happen on the street. A lot of good things happen on the street. But from my personal experience, the OGs, as they call them, those were the teachers. Those were the ones that were out there that were trying to educate you on what's really going on, how to deal with the cops, how to be an upstanding citizen in your community, how to represent something, how to own something. That's what's missing. So but yeah, so I didn't have that teaching. I didn't learn it at home. You know, I was hanging out with all kind of different people. You know, it's just the way that it was. That's how we all, you know, kind of grew up in our community. So I was brainwashed. But over a period of time, once I broke away from that religion that they wanted me to serve, which I know that did not identify with me and my culture, that's the reason why I moved on. And that's when I started to understand all the things that we were talking about tonight, and even in your previous episodes, Brother True Powers Mine, even with all of the other guests that you've had, we predicted what's going on. Everybody just thought it was a myth. It was not real. And but it's really because it's coming from my people too. My people, they still don't really have a full grasp on what's going on. But they don't want to tell you that you're right neither.
Well, because they can't. Pride and that ego stops that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's the thing is about it is that we have the beauty of having all the videos that you can go back and hear for yourself, you know, and see what Brother C.I. said was true. You don't have to be a psychic. You don't have to be a clairvoyant to just put together a little bit of history, see the major players, see that they're still in operations today, and understand how they're being played out. Like, for instance, Joe Biden. Nobody wants to reconcile Jim Crow Joe days. They don't want to reconcile back when he was young. You know, segregation now, segregation forever. Yeah, if someone comes in with a lead pipe and hit my grandma, come on, dude.
Well, so, you know, sometimes it makes me wonder that both people, Democrats and Republicans, or whoever they say they are, it makes me think that they're both on the same side, but they're trying to fake, like they're faking, like they're for us. But it goes back to what we were saying earlier. Since we didn't construct it, you listen to what they're saying, whether it's Attorney General Barr or Trump or Pence. The one thing that they all have in common, they all said they want to create a new American empire. They want to be able to take all of the Americans out, move the Russians in. But see, there's going to be a problem, though. The problem is where do the racist white supremacist groups, who do they pledge their allegiance to? Do they pledge their allegiance to
Russia? They're to Russia. And the Chinese are to the Chinese. Listen, man, we already told everybody when the war comes, it's going to be Russia, China, and the UE versus basically India. It looks to be India, United States, and Japan. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You go to that website and it shows you population loss. You know, it's not, I mean, we're the perfect storm, brother. We got a virus. We have disunity. We have an economic collapse, this teetering, you know, and all you brothers and sisters who are getting evicted, you know, when they disappear, y'all, and no one speaks up, the end is near. But wow, man, what fascinating times we live in.
Yeah, you know the crazy. Also, another thing too is since we're not the ones who created it, as far as like the laws, because you know, let's keep it real. They wanted us to still legally be slaves. They still have that mindset. This is the first time in history where you have Confederacy mixed with Nazi. You know, and look what that morphed into. One of your guests that you had on your show, it talked about the Fourth Reich, the New World Order. You know, and if you're looking at what they're doing right now, because another 4 more years of this, dude, of this guy that's in there. I understand that this is a big game. This is a big game. Same players doing the same old thing, but just new techniques. They got the access to the newest technology that is sophisticated, far more advanced, and they're trying to go further. They let this virus spread, hoping that everybody catches it. Because now don't quote me to this, but there is, from what I've read, if it's true or false, that there's a high Russian population in St. Louis, here in Missouri.
Well, think about the Bosnians coming from a communist state. I mean, Russia is just a almost like an ideology or a political area of Asia. But yeah, you can consider them fucking Russians. I mean, genetically speaking, they're more than likely are Russians.
Now, did you see that? Now, they just had it on the news earlier today that they're supposed to be coming up talking about Russia, that supposedly, quote unquote, that they're supposed to come out with a vaccine.
Well, there's several countries working on vaccines simultaneously. Even India has like 4 or 5. But, listen, Judge Joe Brown, if you believe in science, now if you don't, then disregard what I'm about ready to say. There is no vaccines for the novel coronavirus. It's called the Common Cold. We haven't invented one for that. You can throw all the bullshit money at it you want, and you can come up with lies and studies. I mean, let's face it. The real reason why a lot of people are concerned about their health care workers is because what if your nurse, doctor, nurse practitioner, the phlebotomist, any of these people, even the intake chick or dude, wore their swastika in their heart? What type of medical care are you going to get? Are you going to get Tuskegee style, or are you going to get what, ER or St. Elmo's Fire or whatever the fuck back in the day with Denzel Washington? What are you going to get?
Either one of them. You're going to get either one of them. Like we were saying, Brother Pat, they know, even though they pretend to be dumb, they know what those symbols mean. They know when to mobilize and when to galvanize. But see, where our problem is we don't have that commitment to each other. We don't have that.
Our problem begins with the 11%. Yes, we're 11% now. Way to go, abortions. AIDS, disease. Yes, wiping us out. Yay. This is what they want. This is what they get. Some people you just can't reach. That's the way they want it. That's the way they get it. And unfortunately, it's us, dude. And this is a terrible tragedy, man. What's going to go down is a terrible tragedy. Should not occur. But it will.
So in your opinion, why do you think they're doing this? Why do you think they allow a plague to spread the way that it is?
It goes back to survival of the species. It goes back to having a hate-filled mind bent on illogical tenets. The tenets of any racial superiority or ideology is that you are basically God's best. You are the top fucking model. You are it, baby. But that's a fallacy. That's a fallacy that's going to destroy us all, because we were all fragmented into these different forms by a higher being. That's why we're in all these different forms.
And another thing that really is making, one of the things that's really making all this stuff worse is social media. Social media is making this virus thing a lot worse too.
Well, you also have to give it up to public education, the gang preparatory schools. You have to give it up to brainwashings of the parents and the grandparents, because we're already like 3 generations deep. It really started back in the 50s when televisions were allowed. Television was allowed in all these folks' homes. Yeah. And don't forget, the hate in the heart is handed down just like the money.
Right.
So there's a spiritual component. There is a financial component, but there's really is a huge political component. And I'm telling you guys, and I hate to say this, be the bearer of bad news, but if you were using certain characteristics to describe the next president, will he be old? Will he be white? Will he be male? And will he be racist? It's 100% guaranteed that will be 100% guaranteed. No matter who wins, you would get those characteristics guaranteed.
Yeah,
So now, where's our fucking political solution, brother? This is why we're being like cattle. We're psychologically being like lemons and cattle into this focus point, because people who are conscious are understanding what I just said on a very serious level. They're like, yeah, damn it, I don't got a fucking financial solution. I don't have a political solution. I don't have a social solution. So what would be the final solution? Useless eater.
Well, you know, to me, the new one of the other than being black in America, the new slavery is to control your money. The new slavery is to always keep you in debt.
Well, isn't that the old slavery? That's the old world order, brother. Now you're talking about serfs and peasants. The only difference between a peasant and a serf was like a motherfucker, the working class. He was the middle class. The peasant was a poor bastard living right next to a leopard colony, fucking, you know, whatever. They were just basically pharaoh slaves. And then you had the elites. And those are the old money. All right. Those are the people who, you know, people would die for a piece of bread. You know, oh, you stole a piece of bread from my warehouse? Cut that peasant in two. And they would. You got to understand the mindset of the people running the show. And the sad thing about it, there's another mindset out there too. You know, there's actually 7, but the Chinese mindset is playing off into the Zionist prophecy of the king of the East. That's why China was allowed to have such weaponry to begin with. Now, once again, since we're dealing with irrational fucks that don't realize the full ramifications of their allowing the intellectual properties, and when we say intellectual properties, now you understand it as your music and such, but there's also intellectual properties of a scientific nature that can have dramatic effects when harnessed in the wrong or right mind. And that's only your perspective. You know, to some people in the world, just because we're Americans, period, end of story, enough said, kill on sight. Just because you're American. It has shit to do with how cool you are or how nice. They don't give a fuck. But just like there's U.S. citizens, and I hate to say this, but U.S. citizens that participate in excursions outside the boundaries of the United States on the behalf of the United States, or so they say, and we're going to be caught holding the bag, just like black folks are going to be caught holding the bag on the protests. That's how that hot war thing pops off. And not to mention, we are going to go to war because of Hong Kong. Hong Kong's bowing down, y'all. Hong Kong, I want to paint this geopolitical picture for y'all. Imagine, as it were, a unsoiled, untouched virgin nation state, city-state, that was basically the harlot of the fucking English, and then becomes the darling star of the Chinese empire. Now, when the Chinese come in and they crush them, that means all that secret money that's been tucked away in those little vaults in Hong Kong, guess who gets that? You know, all that offshore money that you think's in the Cayman Islands, but somewhere else, guess who gets that? All the silver and platinum.
Yeah.
All that shit goes to the Communist fucking party. Way to go. You know, because people in their foolish ideology puts everybody's lives at risk. And we all know, let's just be honest, this virus is a biological weapon from China. No one wants to say it, but that's what it is. They're weakening the fucking giant before they go jacking the beanstalk on us with their little buddies. Like I always said, the United States of America is a big fat vajayjay just waiting to get fucked. I'm sorry.
I mean, look at China too. China is moving up globally. They're moving into they're in Africa, but they're controlling maybe 65 to 75 to 80% of their economy. And when this virus hit, they were treating black people that were living in China like crap.
Shit.
Like it's still, they have signs on the doors. No blacks allowed. It's still like that. So they kind of had an issue for
South Korea. It's the same way. Asia's, listen, for all you Wu-Tang fans out there, and the Asians did their little mind fucking too with the kung fu movies and bullshit. They don't have no love for you either. No respect. They learned that. They'll claim they learned that from the European or the American, but it's nature, dude. When people have territories and lands, people who are obviously different in appearance, physical being, are viewed as a threat. They're viewed as a threat because it's almost a perverse ancestry worshiping your ancestors. Well, and then we go back so far, then people want to forget, well, fuck, we all came from the same ancestors. So ultimately, if we're human beings, we're all one people.
Yeah.
But that leads us to another question. Are all of us truly human?
Well, it makes you wonder, though, man. It makes you wonder that, I mean, if we're seeing, to me, like we talked about this before, that I feel like that the world got to a point and it got hot, and then it blew up, and then it reshaped from the heat and the energy. Because why are we seeing dinosaurs and bones and stuff like that from 250 million years ago? It's nobody didn't move all those mountains by themselves in California. You know what I'm saying? I feel like something
tectonic pressures. I mean, a lot of that, what you're talking about, as long as you have the luxury of time, all those geographical and geological anomalies can be basically explained through tectonic movements and plate shifting. And fuck, there's been whole continents that sunk into the mantle already. So listen, you're on a dying planet. Let me just be honest with everybody right now who hears my voice. You are all on a dying planet, fool. So you can keep on fighting over this fucking empire of dirt, or else we can fucking take some of this dirt, refine it into fucking metal, put that metal together, make some sort of propulsion system, and get the fuck up off this fucking ball of death. If not, you know what? Whoever wins the race war, you're going to lose in the end, motherfucker, unless you get off this planet.
Yeah. That's basically what it is, though, man. I mean, come on. What else does it take for people not to see this?
It takes massive amounts of brainwashes and copious amounts of prescription drugs to keep their nerves in check. That's all it takes. That's why we got big pharma. That's why we got big entertainment. That's why we got 24-hour news cycle. It's just a distraction so people don't ever think about the truly inevitable. And that is the demise of the whole species, because we are too stupid to realize common cause and purpose, and how it would be a total blessing to be able to sever ourselves from the earth so the earth can go on. And this will help all you fucking terrorists that wants to kill off all of us humans. Let's get spaceships so we can leave Earth all together. We don't ever have to come back. And then guess what? All your plants and fucking shit can grow so beautiful. So work with us to take our civilization to the next level. And, I'll be the first one to be like, fuck, y'all can have Earth, dude. Give me a spaceship with, infinite energy supply and way to nourish oneself. Dude, I'm straight. I'm cool. You guys can stay down here with the mosquitoes and snakes and ticks and all that bullshit. And I'm going to be in my sterile, clean space environment. Now, that's fantasy, but the reality, we're just going to get a fucking trade right to a fucking oven. But that's another discussion. I don't want to be a buzzkill.
Yeah, basically, like, I feel the same way too. Like, I'm ready to get up off this mud ball. That's how I look at it. I look at it as a mud ball, because since the existence, since our existence, look at all the things that we had to face. Look at going all the way back to the 1200 and the 1300s, 1400s. You saw, Attila the Hun and Mao Zedong. You know what I'm saying? You saw the Inca Aztec empires. So every century, you've seen the civilization of man become more aggressive, more darker, more evil, more to be conquerors. What's the one thing that the people in the Middle East? I had a discussion with one of my friends I went to college with, and we were talking about when General Soleimani was killed in Saudi Arabia or Iran. The thing about it was he was trying to broker, basically tell the Saudis, because of the United States for all these years has divided us, them and Great Britain. Let's get them out. Let's merge together. He was trying to be the guy that was trying to bring Saudi and Iran together. They said, screw the U.S. Let's get them the hell away from us, and why don't we do it? But that's when they assassinated him with that drone. But my friends that live in the Middle East, the only thing that they have an issue with is not the American people. They have an issue with the American political system because they know that it's imperialist. That's how I'm not afraid to speak. I'm an American, and I have friends all over the world, and they're scratching their head. They're like, "What the hell is going on with you guys over there?" I'm friends with the black people, like my ex-fiance. She lives in London, and I started getting cool with some of the people that she knew that were black. Like it was just interesting to talk to them because they had that British accent, and they're fully aware because they're dealing with the same stuff how we're doing with America.
But you had an equal effect on them because you have an American accent. Listen, at the end of the day, the only difference between them and us and the Caribbeans is a boat ride. Their people landed in England, were freed a couple hundred years before us, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. But the reality is when this thing goes down, and I forgot to say, it starts in the United States, but this shit will be global. So all y'all hunkering down in other parts of the world, you think you're safe, you're not. So I just want to let you know this is unity worldwide. It should be. But back to the show here. Before we're coming up on the hour, Cobra, I always try to pump everybody. Can you tell people where they can purchase your products and perhaps even donate to you as an artist, as a Patreon? Maybe you have a Patreon account. Can you give that information out to everybody?
Absolutely. If you want to know more about Cobra Immortal, my Patreon is patreon.com/Cobra Immortal. You can find my music on Spotify. Add me to your Spotify playlist. Just type in Cobra Immortal. I have a PayPal as well, CobraImmortal1@gmail.com. And that's also if you want to book me for an interview or a live virtual performance in the future, that's CobraImmortal1@gmail.com. To purchase my T-shirts, hoodies, that are for men and women and children available. You can go to teespring.com/Cobra Immortal. That's where you can find all of the T-shirts, merchandise. I'm always, creating new merch. And if you want the latest copy of my CD, Smash 'Em All, you can inbox me. You can find me on Facebook.com/The Real Cobra Immortal, or just type in Cobra Immortal. I'm also on Twitter @Cobra Immortal, Instagram @Cobra Immortal. I'm on YouTube as well. Cobra Immortal, just type me in there. And I'm all over the web, Google me. And that's where you'll find me. And that's what it do, man.
That's right on. Now, we still got a few more minutes to talk about what we're talking about. Do you ever see a point where AI truly replaces the human artist?
Yeah, absolutely. It's because it's happening now. You know, it's happening in music. It's happening in, the small businesses. The large corporations, Walmart, McDonald's. You can anytime you can order stuff from your phone. I've actually saw somebody that I know. Their package was delivered by a drone through Amazon. We saw it come down and drop it in front of their house and everything.
Now, hold on now, brother. Now, what stops a unscrupulous human being from watching that drone, and when it drops a package, they just run up and grab that mug and run off?
Well, what they do is I guess somehow they let the person who ordered it know, and then he came outside and
scooped it up.
It was over his house, and then it laid it down on the ground, and it took off. You know what I'm saying? It was scary because it was like, I think he ordered I don't know, might have been a couple pair of shoes or something.
Wow.
And I've actually seen them, fly that drone from the actual Amazon truck. If it's a place where they can't go, they'll use that drone, and then they'll
wait. So a truck will pull up to a park, hook this drone up, and they fly that drone to this little house on the hill that they can't get to, and then fly. That's tight. That's smart. Great logistics, but that's kind of what Amazon's known for. And you're gonna bum rush them with a few P guns.
Yeah, they push them forward, man. I mean, they say that this is the year of the chip. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm sure that you heard a lot of conspiracy theories surrounding, Bill Gates.
I know nothing. I hear nothing. I'm just in the ivory tower nowadays, fishing. But yes.
So I guess they're trying to push Agenda 21, man. Project Bluebeam. Like the dude, the homie that lives out in California, he didn't believe. Yeah, there's an actual machine by the name of Art that controls the weather. If they wanted the earthquake, if they wanted to set the fire, if they want a snowstorm, they have the technology where they can make anything with the weather, just like they do. Like there's a video that's out.
And China has one too. And Russia. They both also have a basically a high energy weapon and based platform, or HARP. And
you know what's really the great, brother, is the fact that Russia has the most nuclear weapons in the world.
Right. So
they have you said what?
So they listen. The key word is how many weapons, or should I say, how many nuclear weapons do you have on Earth? Yeah, absolutely. Russia has the most. How many nuclear weapons do you have in orbit over the Earth? Who knows? Who knows?
But do you actually think that, okay, so what happens if we are overran? Let's picture this scenario. Let's say that we are overwhelmed with this virus and these federal troops. Who do you think is going to still stay alive? Do you think that?
Oh, I got it. The people who planned it out from the beginning, the people who have been in their bunkers now for a few months, the people who basically are the chosen. And you know what? I hope they live forever, dude. I truly do. I hope the spiritual solution is they live forever. And guess what? They get sick and they have to go to a certain spot on Earth every year to get that antidote. That's what I hope. I hope they all live for fucking ever until the sun fucking expands and burn their stupid asses up.
Now, do you think that this is really like the dude that's in the White House? It's kind of interesting that
King Xerxes
doesn't any type of symptoms of, and he's around people every day.
He's a super spreader, dude. He's a super spreader. Look, Trump, our president, the president of these United States of America, He's a
Wow.
puppet like us all, dude. He's not elite. Everybody you ever seen on TV, none of these fools are fucking elite. The real elite, you will never know who the fuck they are. You'll never see them. And you will not ever contact them unless your fate or destiny brings you to them. But for the most of us, just realize you're cattle. You're about ready to get tagged and bagged. And, I guess at this point, find what really makes you happy and try to do it. I mean, if it's praying all day and with rosaries, or if it's kneeling on a carpet, or if it's doing acupuncture, or whatever you're into, I would suggest you do it and enjoy it, because I don't think you're gonna like what fall has to bring, and it's right
Yeah,
around the corner.
it's already a corn shortage. They already say by September, October, there's going to be a food shortage. Like they're doing it now. Like when I went to the store the other day, like you can only buy a certain amount of packs of meat, like two per customer.
Well,
You know,
that's where
that,
it's good to know folks that live out in the country, and you can buy a whole half of cow for $500 and deep freeze it. That's why it's good to know folks out in the country where you can go through and just stop by, and they're like, "Hey, you want a chicken? Just kill one," and you just take it home and cook it up. You got to start thinking outside the box if you're going to survive. If you plan to survive and try to eke out some sort of existence after this event, I suggest that you get iodine. I suggest you get bandages. I suggest you get rope. I suggest you get clothes of any style in winter. Obviously, if you're in a temperate area, even in summer, you're better off to have a winter coat. So things are going to get far worse, and unless we do a spiritual turnaround. Unless there's a spiritual turnaround, then things could possibly have an upswing. But without that occurring, dude, this planet is like an unwanted pregnancy. It's about to get aborted. It's about to get fucking aborted.
they're pushing. They're hitting us with with everything they got, man. They're hitting us with everything they got. They're hitting us with, they're furthering their agenda, a new world, as they say. Like that's what they're.
Man, I'm gonna say it like my brother Voice 32 used to say back in the day. Nah, ain't no new world order, homie. This is the old world order. The old world order. That you could call him the prime minister, motherfucker, still the king. You can call that motherfucker ambassador. He's still a count or a. Well, go ahead.
You think that the people that are in there now, are they affiliated with the John Birch Society or no?
The administration has many members of JBS, and they also have many members of other, let's say, conservative groups. The John Birch Society, in their ideology, if you took out their racist, genocidal component, it's kind of spot on. If you're into patriotism and nationalism on that level, you're gonna totally identify with it and digest it as truth. But if you put in the human aspect of implementing out these noble ideals, and now we have to bring in the racism, the hatred, the need for genocide, then it's a very bad situation for those they deem communist or subversive. You will be dealt with harshly. There will be no mercy. There will be no quarter given. You will be eradicated.
Wow, man, and that's deep right there. That's deep.
Now, go ahead.
And like I said, man, it's happening. It is happening. Like I said, like I have many a homie that live up in St. Louis, and I talk to them once a day, but I try to enlighten them, educate them. Like, man, y'all gotta have it, man. Y'all stop doing what y'all doing to each other in the streets, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I know that it's a continued cycle, and you can't change people's minds, but I want to be able to spark it. I want to be able to say, like, man, I did do something for humanity. Yeah, I don't claim to know everything. By society, they may try to, judge you because you don't have a piece of paper that shows, quote unquote, how smart you are. But there's some people out there that knows what's going on, like me, living in my community, where it's not that many of us. We, there's a couple of people that when I lost my dad in March of this year, when I lost him, there was a few people that, I reach out to them every week, every month. It's called fellowship. I check on them. They're older. Sir, ma'am, how you doing? Everything good? Because of all the COVID and stuff.
Right on.
So I'm more of I'm giving to my community in a roundabout way. If somebody needs a favor, like they every once in a while they may need somebody to go to the store for them, I do that. It's all about empowering our communities, man, because this is like it's like ancient Egypt. It's in ruin. I see it die every day. I'm outside of looking at the news. I see it die every day. Abandoned houses.
But that's the natural state, brother. Don't forget what you're witnessing is the natural order and state of this planet of death. That's what it's about. Things do not come to earth to live. Things come to earth to die. And that being said, we're at the hour point. Brother, I want to say thank you for coming on the show and sharing with us tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brother Pat. It was my pleasure, honor. To the listeners, thank you. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you look my boy up, True Power's Mind. Donate to your Cash App. Brother Pat, you have what's your Cash App, man?
Oh, it's a $sign TPIM SR LIVE.
I'm telling you, all the listeners out there, Brother Pat, just real briefly, I've seen the growth of Brother Pat's show over the years. From 2017, 2016, 2017, I've seen this man grow. He was very innovative, very educated. He's got the gift of gab. He's talked to a lot of people around the world. He knows a lot of people. Man, this man was put by God on this earth to educate us, to give us wisdom and knowledge. So please, everybody out there, donate to the SR Live, TPIM SR Live Cash App today. This brother works hard day and night to give you and I, the people, the humans, the education and the spiritual aspect of me. So please, each and every one of y'all, donate to True Powers on SR Live right now.
Right on, brother. Right on. All right, Yao. Man, we're going to have you back, Cobra. And we're going to start doing more shows. Just say thank you again, man. Peace and power. And I'll holler at you later.
Peace and power. Have a good night, everyone.
All right, Yao. I just want to say thank you. Thank you to all the listeners, all the commenters in the chat bar. I know tonight's show was a little up and down, a little doom and gloomy. I know, but I ain't trying to sell nothing. I'm just trying to speak some truth, y'all. So this will conclude TPIM SR Live for tonight. As always, I ask you to live your life with integrity, without hate, envy, or greed. Brothers and sisters, please, let's try to be kinder to each other. Peace and power, unity and victory, dignity and respect, liberation. I'm out, y'all.